Oh, a bit late, are we?
Yeah, work. Yeah.
Thanks. Let's get right to it then, shall we?
What do you want to talk about?
We don't have to talk about anything if you don't want to.
I'm just annoyed at my boss.
What's going on?
He took me off the Michael Corner case.
I see.
It's just maddening. And they hired me because they know I can get things done, but then I have an original idea and I get punished.
That sounds frustrating.
It's like they don't care. I mean, I know they do care, but it feels like they don't when they're more worried about following protocols and procedures than actually accomplishing anything.
What got you removed from the case?
Well, I basically told him that, my boss, only with slightly more colourful language.
Ah, how did that go over?
I couldn't help it. I mean, I'd thought the whole thing through so carefully, but he never takes my ideas seriously. He's just obsessed with doing everything by the book.
What was his objection to your idea?
Well, is everything I tell you confidential?
That's correct. I took a page out of the Muggles handbook on that one.
Great. You remember what I was telling you last week about Michael Corner?
The professor with the acromantulas?
Right. Well, that note even found with the address. Turns out, for about a month now, Corner's been meeting someone there every week who pays him for the acromantulas. Before that, he was killing the spiders, extracting the venom, and then selling it in Nocturne Alley himself. Then he met some guy who offered to buy the spiders alive for a lot more than one batch of venom is worth.
Why was he killing the spiders initially?
Well, acromantula venom is really dangerous to collect while they're still alive. There's only a handful of people who know how to do it.
So this person he's selling to must be one of them.
Exactly, and we think we know who it is. There's this major black market dealer known as the Jonquil.
Like the flower?
Yeah, he's a mysterious guy, always wears a mask. We've been looking for him for ages. We don't know who he is, just that he operates out of a big compound somewhere with all his dark artifacts and imprisoned magical creatures.
How do you know he's involved in all this?
Well, our sources say there's been an influx of underpriced venom from local dealers. We think that he's trying to drive out his Albanian competition.
Oh, well, I'd be in danger now that I know so much. But tell me about your plan.
Well, their plan was to arrest the go-between.
The go-between?
The witch Michael meets every week. He doesn't know her name, but they have a handoff scheduled for tomorrow. The ministry wants to set up a sting and arrest her after the deal takes place.
Okay.
Then we would interrogate her with the hopes of learning the location of the compound where she's bringing the cages.
And how would you prefer to handle it?
Well, for starters, there's no guarantee she would give up that information, even if she knows it.
How's that?
Well, you never know if these people are going to claim they're under the Imperious Curse as some sort of memory charm.
Is that likely?
It's not unheard of, but even if not, it would tip off the Jonquil if she never shows up at the compound, which would not only blow the lead, but could also put her in danger.
You think this Jonquil could kill her before she gets to talk?
Or after we let her go if he suspects she talked. Not that the ministry's too concerned about that. They have some serious issues with suspect rights. I've been trying to get reformed.
What do you mean?
Well, you see, Muggles have this concept of innocent until proven guilty.
My husband's mentioned that.
Yeah, well, Sirius spent a third of his life in Azkaban for a crime he didn't commit. They even sent Hagrid there for a few months based off of a 50-year-old accusation from Voldemort himself.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's a long story, but the point is, the ministry can be reckless with people's lives, and I don't want this woman to end up imprisoned or killed before we're even sure if she's guilty.
That makes sense. I'd love to hear more about your efforts at reform. Have they been receptive to your ideas?
Not really. And everything's an uphill battle with them.
What exactly are you trying to get done?
We'll just create some accountability so we're not puppets for the minister like before.
Sounds like that would be better for everyone.
Yeah, I just want us to be able to do our jobs. I'm not trying to step on anyone's toes. I guess they think I'm in Hermione's pocket or something.
Am I a new friend?
She works on the political side of things, and she's trying to get new protocols in place post-Voldemort. What they always don't understand is how much time I spend arguing with her on their behalf. That's all after hours, mind you.
Then why would they think you're in her pocket?
Well, they know we work together, and I know how a department works, so I can help her write proposals that actually make sense, but then I'm the one who ends up defending the proposals when they get to the department.
Why do the new regulations need defending?
Well, everyone's always trying to push the rules to the limits.
Taking advantage of loopholes?
Yeah, you'd think most things would be pretty cut and dry. No veritaserum, no PJDs, but then as soon as...
Sorry, what's that one?
Apologies, deceptions. But then, as soon as they pour themselves a cup of tea, the suspect gets awfully chatty.
Oh, that doesn't sound like a loophole.
Well, you see, they didn't serve them the tea. The suspect poured their own cup.
Very sneaky. I'd love a top-up.
It feels like nothing's ever going to change, especially with the older ones. Seems like they'll always be biased against Muggle-borns and sketchy investigations. Feels like I'm wasting my time.
Does Hermione feel the same way?
Somehow she's still optimistic. It's a bit naive, if you ask me.
What would she say if she heard you call her naive?
She does, I say it to her face.
And what does she say?
She brags about statistics on Muggle-born incarcerations or whatever else.
You don't think that's meaningful?
Maybe it is. I don't know, it all feels so small. I know I'll always be defined by what I did as a teenager. That's fine, I get that. But if I did that back then, why can't I do more now?
Who defines you that way?
Everyone.
Do your friends see you like that?
No, but, well, it still affects them sometimes.
How so?
I mean, we can't go out without making a scene. I know you're going to say they don't blame me for that, but still.
What about your work colleagues?
What about them?
Oh, do they see you that way?
Yes. I mean, they think the only reason I'm a chief inspector is because I'm on a chocolate frog card.
What gives you that impression?
Aren't you going to ask if it is?
Is what?
The only reason.
Would you like me to?
It isn't. I got the highest marks on all my practical exams, except concealment and disguise, which will make sense. Then when I was a constable, I found the shrunken head that cracked the grifting Velas case. You've probably heard about that one.
I did. Are you familiar with the term imposter syndrome?
I don't think so.
It's very normal to feel like a fraud at your own job, to doubt your own credentials, despite evidence to the contrary.
I don't doubt them. It's my colleagues. They don't take me seriously because they can't see past the fame.
When you first came to my office, I admit I found it hard to separate you from the man I'd read about. But now that I've got to know you better, I see you like any other client. I have to imagine that your colleagues at work, who see you on a daily basis, feel similarly.
Well, if that's true, then maybe I wish they did still see me as the chosen one. Whatever it takes for them to go along with my plans for a change.
You still haven't told me what your plan is.
Right, well, I have this invisibility cloak.
Oh, like in that story. The one with the 3 brothers, and I believe they somehow meet death one day.
Yeah, like that one. I wanted to use it to hide in a spider cage.
One without a spider.
No, with a spider. I'd use a protection charm and, stay quiet.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, they'd be able to tell. Then we let the deal take place and the go-between takes me directly to the jungle's compound.
You presume?
We strongly presume. And once I'm in the compound, I sneak out, gather some intel and figure it out from there.
Do you have a plan for once you get there?
Well, the hope would be to find some hair or something we could later brew into a Apologies potion to see who's hiding behind the mask.
Oh, clever.
Or whatever else comes up. A big part of the job is figuring out how to improvise. There's a whole course in aura training called Best Laid Plans.
I'm sure.
And I know I could do it. This is what I'm best at. Last week, you took issue with me attributing my successes to luck. Well, here you go. This was a lot of it too.
Well, that's not... Okay.
I do really well in stressful situations, and I've got a lot of experience sneaking around under that invisibility cloak.
I'd love to hear some of those stories sometime. But why doesn't your boss like your plan?
He says it's too risky.
Isn't that part of the job?
He says it's needlessly risky.
The risk being to your safety?
Primarily.
Aren't you worried about that as well?
Well, of course I'm worried, but that's normal for this job.
He seems to think it's abnormal.
He's not thinking at all. That's what I'm trying to say. They're too concerned with standard protocol to consider how much more this could accomplish.
Have you spoken to Ginny about any of this?
Ginny?
Your wife?
I know who she is. What do you want to know? No, I haven't. What's your point?
I'm curious how she would feel about your plan.
Well, she obviously worries about me, but she knows I like doing field work.
So you think she would approve of your plan?
Yes.
Okay.
What are you writing?
Just some notes for myself.
But what was that note?
That didn't seem like an honest answer.
I don't know how she would feel. I don't know if she'd feel differently now that things are different.
Different how?
You know what I mean. The pregnancy.
You think that should change things?
Honestly, not really. I know you probably want more than that, but that's just how I feel.
That's fine. Have you considered talking to Ginny about any of this?
We don't really talk about work anymore.
Since she got pregnant?
Yeah.
Are you worried she would want you to take fewer risks?
I don't like talking to her about it.
But why is that?
I don't know. I guess it makes me feel guilty.
Guilty because you think you should take fewer risks?
No, it's not that. I've already said that. I mean, the fieldwork's the whole reason I took this job.
You took the job because of the danger?
I suppose.
And now the danger makes you feel guilty?
I guess, or at least it should, right?
Should it?
Well, I obviously don't want to die and leave Ginny on her own.
And now your baby.
Maybe she's better off that way. It would keep me from messing up.
You mean as a father?
It was a joke.
I know, I just want to understand what you meant.
I was making a joke.
It's very normal for someone anxious about their future to entertain fantasies about their own death.
It wasn't a fantasy, it was a joke. I'm not some coward who would abandon his own kid.
I'm not saying that you are. If anything, these fantasies can reflect how
Why does it have to
seriously-
reflect anything? It was a joke. You're always trying to find meaning in everything I say.
I have to understand you to know how to help you.
I suppose you do that by scribbling in your little notepad.
You're not my only client. I have to take notes.
Notes about things you're too afraid to say to my face?
There's nothing in here that I wouldn't allow you to see. Do you not feel you've benefited from our sessions?
Not really, no. I mean, I was doing fine before. Now I'm in my own head all the time.
That's an important step in the process.
This process seems to only focus on how wrong I am about everything.
I've never told you you were wrong about anything. I'm just here to help you come to your own conclusions.
I'm not the one who concluded I have a death wish.
If that's what it sounded like I was saying, then I apologise.
Maybe you didn't mean to say it, but it's obviously what you meant. I'd love to know what other assumptions you made you haven't told me about.
I try not to make assumptions.
Sure seems that way when you go around calling your clients cowards.
I never even called you that. You used that word.
You said I wanted to die to avoid raising my kid.
I suggested you had a harmless fantasy that in no way makes you a coward.
It was a joke. And if you think that's harmless, I don't want you to be my therapist.
For someone so convinced he's not a coward, you certainly are afraid of your own emotions.